Here's some things I want you to think about before you concealed carry. Now, concealed carry is always, have the proper equipment, the proper amount of training, but there's more that goes into this. At the very start of your decision to carry a concealed firearm, you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. Are you ready, willing, and able to accept the consequences, whatever they are, if you are to use this firearm? Before you even decide to put on a holster, before you decide to even get a pistol, get vet your local attorneys. And I would not recommend an insurance company. There's a bunch of insurance companies out there. They sponsor major gun YouTube videos. I would not recommend one of those. I am one of the very unique, very few amount of people on this platform who has actually got their firearms rights back. It's a whole nother story for another time, but prior to me, even before I even joined the Army, I was never able to own a firearm the entire time I was in the Army. I had to get my rights back after I got out. Whole nother video. So your Second Amendment rights are very, very important. Do not take them for granted. And the responsibilities that you have govern your freedom and your ability to save and protect life. Now, vet your attorneys. Find a good criminal defense attorney in your area. There's a lot of interesting organizations out there. I've heard attorneys on retainer. I have not vetted that organization, so I can't vouch for it. But I would say a good criminal defense attorney in your local area. Have their number. If they are not available, have two other backup numbers. Put those numbers in an envelope and keep them with a loved one. Memorize that loved one's phone number. And before you even strap on a firearm, you need to have that locked down, because the legal avenue of this can dictate whether or not, and the statements you make after, which should be relatively none, you use a firearm, can dictate whether you walk free or whether you spend the rest of your life in prison or somewhere in between. So pay very, very good attention to your total protection as far as your legal protection. Then it goes into, what is your local code requirement? Do you need to have a license to carry? Do you need, are there courses required with that? I would always recommend getting courses so that you can get comfortable with using your firearm in ways that you may not potentially have used it before. Also, understand the legal limits and liability in your specific jurisdiction that can dictate what you can and cannot do. Because every jurisdiction is a little quirky. Just pay very, very close attention to that. And like I said, you have to have that honest conversation with yourself. Am I capable of strapping this firearm on, or am I more of a liability? And you know what? I understand that not everybody is going to be capable of racking a slide, clearing a malfunction. There's different muscle, some of the older folks may not be able to do that. That's okay. Have that honest conversation with yourself. You can always try and escort other people. If it's an active shooter inside of a grocery store, you try and get other people out. Be the hands and feet. Move and help people to get them to safety. Focus more on that aspect if you can. Then you can fight with handheld objects. But understand that in a use of force situation, you want to speak as little as humanly possible. Win the fight to 911. Do not stay on the phone with 911. Basically tell them, hey, I'm here. This guy was doing that. Don't specifically say what you were doing. This guy was doing that. If there was an aggressor, this is what the aggressor was doing. And then hang up. Don't try and stay on the phone with 911. They're trained to keep you on the phone so that they can talk to you, and everything that you're saying is being recorded and will be played back. Understand you're not in the right mind state. You're in a heightened adrenaline state. Chances are you have probably not gone through hundreds of hours of live fire training and scenarios and raids and stuff like that. So your neural pathways are not going to be formed to deal with the stress of being in a use of force scenario. And there's nothing wrong with that. But coming with more training on and stuff like that, you can get better at it, but still don't make statements to law enforcement. And except, this is me. Here's my identification. I need to contact my attorney. I'm not in the right mind state to make any statements at this time. Because what you say to your attorney, is you have a Fifth Amendment right for a reason, so use it. And I've harped on that enough. Then getting the right firearm. Not only getting the right firearm, but having the right retention system, having a good, proper Kydex holster. Or if you're rocking a wheel gun, love wheel guns. Wheel guns are classic. Make sure you have a good leather holster for that, or Kydex as well. I would not recommend getting some kind of a nylon floppy holster. Please do not carry those. I cannot tell you how many times, me personally, through using Army stuff and watching and helping a buddy of mine physically cut her gun out of a nylon holster because it just got deformed around there. Don't do that. Get a Kydex, get a leather holster. And also be aware with leather holsters, you can have trigger deformation over time because the way that the leather forms to it, it kind of molds to it. So after enough time, your leather holster may end up squeezing your gun's trigger. So that's also kind of a sketchy thing. If you can have a Kydex insert inside of a leather holster, I can't think off the top of my head who makes it. I've heard of it made, but I don't carry a leather holster. I carry Kydex. It's just easy, and I have a ton of Kydex holsters. Make sure that it is a proper holster. It's not just some ramshackle general thing that just kind of your gun flops around in. Make sure it clicks in. You have good click retention. And then don't print too much. Make sure your holster has a claw on it if you're going to carry it inside the waistband. I would not recommend, excuse me, unless you're actually on a range session, you're doing, your level 2, level 3 draws from your gun belt. I wouldn't recommend carrying an outside the waistband holster. It's just weird. It freaks people out. And, time and time again, we've seen that when you have your gun out, your gun becomes our gun. Because how many times have we seen that all of a sudden some dude's walking around in a gas station and some hoodlum runs up behind him and snatches his gun? There's a case in Tennessee where that happened like recently. Don't do it. It's just unnecessary ass pain for everybody involved. Just carry it concealed. Nobody needs to know what you got. None of their business. But you're there just in case. Those who are, your loved ones know. And just be cognizant of those around you. Don't print. And if you are in printing, for those unfamiliar, it means that your gun is showing. You have like a really tight shirt and, you can see the butt of your gun. Wear a larger shirt or wear a shirt like this and then wear a button down on top of it. You can carry a full size with that. No problem. And I like to carry the largest gun possible. So that means like a Glock 19 with a threaded barrel. That is going to give you that Glock 17 length. And that's just, all that's going to do is give you extra accuracy. Subcompacts are distance limited. Your groups will start to come apart and you're trying to manage recoil. If you're having to fire multiple shots, unless you're throwing 200 rounds a week down range and actually getting some really good training shooting that subcompact, even still, that's my subcompact groups I would not try and make a headshot at 25 yards with a subcompact. I have a Dagger Micro Comp. I've got a Glock 43X. Can I do it if I slow my breathing down and take my time? It's about 50-50, honestly. Some of you are going to have better skill than me doing that at 25 yards, and that's great. But would I do that with my Glock 19 with my threaded barrel on it? Every single time. Every single time. Now, unless there's people moving around, there's variables, you'll hear MET-TC, which is an acronym that just basically says it's situational dependent. Don't get so target focused that you completely forget about your backdrop. because you're responsible for everything that comes out of that gun. Every bullet that comes out of that gun, you're responsible for that. You are legally, ethically, and morally responsible for that, what comes out of that firearm. So make sure you know your target and what lies beyond it. Target overmatch is a very real thing. So if you're shooting Full Metal Jacket, understand that your chances of over penetration with a 9mm on a soft human tissue target are pretty high. You may have that thing come zinging out the other side of somebody, and then you don't know where that round's going to go. Bullets do weird stuff when they hit stuff. So having a good jacketed hollow point, I like, what are they? Spear Gold Dots. They're bonded hollow points. Love those things. I carry HSTs as well. But I love my spears. They're just that bonded hollow point. Just watching some of the footage for it and the science behind that round, I'm really impressed by it. It does well when it impacts with fabric. So just things to take into consideration, and hopefully this helps kind of break you and open your mind. Not break you, but open your mind and break you into the idea of concealed carrying. And I hope that you do concealed carry, and I hope you get more training and more training. I would love to come out and have you out there for a class or for a couple different scenarios. We've got some really good stuff that most instructors, let's be honest, don't really focus on. There are flat range skills that are great, but there's also things that go beyond the flat range. There's TCCC. There is reacting out of a vehicle, understanding how to react out of a vehicle, understanding different principles around vehicles, understanding different principles inside of houses, or how to use transitional spaces, how to use cover and concealment to maneuver onto or away from threats. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.